Hey everybody, welcome once again to Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company Thursday Facebook Live. I am Tom Matuska here with Brett Wingfield, and we're going to try to stimulate your creative juices to
Is that what we're going to do?
step out on a branch and do some different things, because we're stepping out on a branch today.
Don't fall off.
Last couple weeks, I think, if you joined us, we were doing habitat.
Branches.
And branches, and how to add a branch or remove a branch, and how to make the flow real natural, and painting rocks. And we have been working a lot with artificial habitat pieces, both rock and wood products. And we think, done right, they are pretty convincing and easier to work with and easier to use than the real thing, and much lighter. You don't have to worry about them falling off the wall and hurting somebody. And so this week we're going to go into bird products. And you know, we take a lot of your ideas. A lot of people text in and call us, and they say, geez, we'd like to see you do this, or we'd like to see you do that. And some things we're very, very capable of, and some things we've done before, and some things we don't want to do. And but anyway, bird products are something that most taxidermists do birds, and to do a better bird, we think it's very advantageous to use artificial heads, for instance, and different plastic parts that you can make yourself. So that's what we're going to show you today. And a lot of you are thinking, why would they show us how to make an artificial head when the Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company is known for Wildlife Illusions bird products, which are like the finest in the world. And now we're going to show you how to do that. We're not exactly going to show you how to do a Corey Carruthers type bird head, but whether you do it for your customers, or every once in a while you're going to have a bird that you come across that heads aren't available for. You're going to have maybe just a one-of-a-time thing that you want to do, or maybe you want to do something for a competition and you want a little bit of edge over the other contestants by making your own products and studying your own products. So we discussed this thing during the week. What should we do for live? And we run through 50 different ideas before we settle on one. Once we settle on one, we're pretty wishy-washy sometimes, and it takes a lot of time to get ready. So we're going to cast for you, mold for you today, a wood duck head. And I skinned a wood duck this morning and tried to skin it as clean as I could, leaving all the tissue and everything with the head. This is what I ended up with. And we left the neck attached because it'll show you the union between the neck and the head. And that's something that when we teach students how to skin a bird and build a neck and neck attachments, things like that, this head and that neck attachment and that union is very, very important. This wood duck that we're doing is going to be a at-rest kind of looking real wood ducky, you know, nice side pockets, black and white side pockets are going to look nice, and he's just going to be standing on a branch for the wall. So this is an S-shaped, and we just curled that neck up onto the body just the way he would in real life. And before you dismember him, he's going to go right back into the position that he was. That neck can only bend so far, it can only compress so far, and it can only stretch out so far. Typically, we always teach people that a bird's neck is always in an S. If he's stretched out flying, it's just a elongated S. It's still an S. When he's compressed, huddled up cold, it's a very tight S. So that's what we have here. And the reason we left the neck on is also for study purposes. This will be very advantageous for anybody that really wants to see, you know, how that flows and how that head joins the neck. So though we're only going to use the head, we're going to cast the whole thing. Now, typically, if we wanted to make just a head, the easiest way to do that is to take, we use a lot of printer's tin. This is printer's tin. And we would take a little piece of printer's tin, and we'd take that head, sever it at the neck, put it bill up, and a little bit of super glue will hold it right down to that printer's tin for molding purposes. Then we take a cup like this, cut the bottom out of it because we're going to pour rubber in there. We'd slip it over the bird, fasten it around the bottom with hot glue we like to use, or whatever. You don't want your silicone to start leaking, but that makes a nice dam around your bird head. Fill it up with rubber, sit and wait, and when it hardens up, you can see the back of the bird head, and you can actually wiggle it, pull it out, and the entire bird's head was molded in silicone rubber. Some people use silicone out of the caulk gun. That works also. We use a silicone product that we use. It's probably a diameter of about 20, I think it is. It's kind of a soft silicone, not a very hard silicone. But you'd pull that out, and then you can make several bird heads to use for your customers. This one, we're going to go even a little bit farther, provided it turns out like we're hoping it's going to. We're going to show you how to put eye rings on it next week, maybe. We'll show you how to paint the bill, how to model it. And when you get it the way you want, you could make a good production mold out of that, and you could make several wood ducks every time you wanted a wood duck. Now, because we left the neck on, we, like I said, open up a big can of worms, because you can't just stick it in here, put a cup over it, and pour silicone rubber.
Right.
So we thought about it all day long.
Debated.
And I'll explain what we've done so far. We took, like I said, printer's tin, because rubber comes off of printer's tin. It's easy to work with. Our hot glue sticks to printer's tin. We can punch pins through printer's tin. So we took this bird head and neck, laid it on the printer's tin, made a little outline so we know where to go. Now you guys are all thinking, man, I do this every day, and I've never done it that dumb a way. So we took some pins and poked some pins down through the printer's tin to suspend this off of the bottom. We made a little dam. I wonder if they're all laughing at us now.
No, I don't think so.
And we're going to put this little dam over there, and we're going to hot glue all the way around so it can't leak.
There you go.
And you're going to mix up some silicone, and we're going to carefully pour silicone around without having our bird float away. It'll do it.
In theory.
And the silicone is going to encompass the entire bird, neck, and head. And like I said, this is a silly way to do it, but it's only because we left the neck on.
And what do we have to do to get that ready?
Well, I think would you like to, should I inject him first?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Now, I already did this on one eye, but the eyes on any bird that's out of the freezer are pretty sunken in, and they don't look so good. I thought I would like to have the eyes looking like an eye, so that when I have a plastic head cast from that mold, I will know exactly where that eye is and how deep it is, and I can take a drill bit and I can drill right through the center, much more accurate than I could that sunken in eye. So on the other eye, I took Master's Blend, and I took A and B of Master's Blend, and I injected it in the eye. So we'll do the other one. I did one and it worked pretty well. I'll do the other one.
Now, a couple of people might wonder while you're mixing that up, your bird is holding that nice, pretty S. You did that.
Skip that part.
Magically.
That's a magic one. In order to hold that S, we took a wire, and it must be about a 14 gauge wire, I think, and inserted it up the vertebrae all the way into the back of the skull. And there's just a nice void where his spinal cord runs, and it was real easy to feed that all the way up in there. Once it was in, I did it when it was straight, I bent him in the shape that I wanted him according to the body. And I took one of the Wildlife Illusions bodies, and this is about what he's going to be like for an attitude.
I like that.
And this, there would not be enough room for the amount of acorns that we took out of that bird. He had a lot of acorns in him.
True.
Okay, let's see. Should have a bigger syringe. Here we go. Anytime you're injecting Master's Blend or any of the epoxies, this lure tip is extremely, extremely helpful. It's your needles actually screw on, and they go on like these little insulin syringes are just friction fit, and when you're squeezing, they blow off.
I've never seen that before.
I see it every time I do it. And
we did it on live.
And,
I did it on live.
So these they're called lure tip, LEUHRBC, and they screw on. They won't come off. Best invention ever. You don't get COVID vaccine flying all over the place. Okay, now just a shortcut of mixing. I just pour it back and forth, back and forth. And I like to take the needle off when I inject or when I suck up the serum. It's going to be a full eye hole.
That is a full eye.
Oh, I'm going to need my lacquer thinner. Okay, now I'm going to wait just a little bit because this, I don't want to have to hold it till it sets up, so I'm going to wait till it starts getting a little warm. And I can feel it right through the barrel of the needle. As soon as it starts getting warm, I'm just going to inject it in this one eye, and I'm going to put a little pressure in it so my eye goes back to its shape. And I'll take a little lacquer thinner. Now, if you get it on the bird where you don't want it, lacquer thinner will take it off. And this isn't necessary, this is just my preference. And I'm just going to wait here till it, put some pressure on it till it sets up a little bit. You can keep talking because this stuff will never set up. And all this is doing is no real need to do this, except it's just making putting my eye back into a little natural pose.
I mean, this will end up being a very nice reference cast too. We can make a few of them out of it.
Now, if you were going to make your own bird heads, and you did a lot of birds, I would make I guess you'd call it a work mold out of this bird head, and then take the cast that you get out and your magnifying visors and make it perfect. You know, get your visors on and check the teeth and repair any teeth that need working. You know, like they might be bent or missing. Shape the connection between your bill and your skin. Just make it real perfect.
And then you'd remold that part?
And then I'd remold that part. Thank you.
And this is the same, this is the master's blend they use for injecting their feet and so forth.
Yeah.
Same product that, so filling up the eye, it's gonna, it'll fill it firm rather than just injecting water, which might eke out during the molding
So
process.
firm that it didn't come out of my needle. I mean, it's stuck in my needle now.
There you go.
And then I'm just going to clean him up because I have master spin running all over the place.
And that's just lacquer thinner you're cleaning
Lacquer
up
thinner
with?
to clean up any of that. Master's blend. And
Now,
I
would
might-
you do anything different
borrow
for
your towel?
other birds? Yeah. If same process for pheasants, for big geese.
I think so.
Looking good.
Now, I'm mainly concerned I can do anything on that head as far as sanding or grinding or adding or taking away. But the bill is going to be important to make it as nice as we can. So I'm making sure I don't have any buildup on the bill. And we also took a rolled up tissue paper and put it down his throat to temporarily just absorb any juices that might leak out. You want kind of a dry bird when you go to mold him. Okay, I think that looks much nicer. Now, would you want to glue the bill shut?
Sure.
And then his trachea is kind of just falling off. A little speck of super glue and a little speck of super glue on there. And like I said, the only reason we're doing this is because the reference factor. And it'd just be kind of nice to have something like that with all your, reference material and your birds.
Sure.
I think he's going to work.
Super glue it closed?
I think. I know you want it open.
I liked it open. I did. Okay. And just being very careful here, I want to make sure that I don't have super glue that leaks back into the detail of the underside of the bill. So I am going to look real careful here at where they make contact. And they don't really make contact in a lot of places, so it's going to take a real fine spot. I think I'm going to do it right up in the front. Little applicator for the super glue, little super glue nozzles is very helpful. I'm going to put just a little bit down in here. You set me up, didn't you?
Sorry. I thought of that too.
It's not running very good. I might use this one. There we go.
Now we could suspend this bird. We could do all kinds of things to get rubber all the way around him. But the object is to conserve as much of the silicone. Silicone's expensive, and you could pretty easily tie up, $30 to $50 worth of silicone in a project like this. So that's hence the little dam I made here that's going to contain all of our silicone so we don't use too much.
Okay.
All right, so we have quite a few people tuning in late, and they are wondering what we are talking about.
Good question. Today, we're really stepping out on a limb, and we're going to mold out of silicone rubber a wood duck head. And we're doing a little different than most people do. Like I explained in the beginning, if you want to make a bird head and you want to make one fast, time is money. You're going to make it, you're going to pose the wood duck head, for instance. On the last vertebrae, we just super glue them right down to the table or stick a little skewer up through the skull. Put a cup like this around it, cut the top out, pour rubber in there, and when it sets up, you're going to pull the bird head out, leaving a void, and then you're going to fill it up with casting plastic. And you can make as many wood ducks as your mold will allow. In production here, we get about, I don't know, 50-ish. So you're going to be able to make 20, 30, 40, 50 wood duck heads. And then from what you end up with, you're going to have to put eyes in.
Tool all of,
they're going to be, might be a little wonky because of the way they're posed. Things go wrong. Things never come out like you want them to. They didn't. Perfection when you're molding, usually you have to do it later. Did you get him all
I did.
fastened?
And I just thought I would check his nostril. We might put a little bit of a separation there. You want to explain to him
Now what's
why?
going to happen, and go ahead and pack up towards the head because it'll go way up into the brain too. The nostrils go all the way down into the bill, and they also go up into the forehead. So you will want to pack that with something that's not going to show. Pack it deep enough. The silicone rubber that we're using is very stretchy, and it'll pull out, from a long ways. But if it's got a huge network of sinuses behind it, it could cause you problems. So pack your nostrils all the way up into the forehead and down into the bill, and that'll save you some issues getting it out later.
And for those that don't know, that nostril goes all the way through. See, all the way through from
And that's a
side to
problem
side.
in itself, huh?
Yeah. So if your rubber came all the way through the center of the nostril, you would break it on one side or the other trying to get it out. So that's another reason we've chosen to close this up some. Those little nostril posts, we don't let those. There we go.
Good?
I
Okay.
think so. My pretty little open mouth is gone.
Now, I laid this on. This is printer's tin for those of you joining us late. Printer's tin you get from any print shop. I know her. Who's that?
I don't know.
Get it from any print shop. And we cut it in strips. We use it for dams. We find lots of uses for printer's tin around the shop. I wanted something to poke to, so you cut me a nice little piece of styrofoam.
Yeah.
I laid a piece of printer's tin on there, poked it down with T-pin so it can't get away, laid the duck head and neck, and again, those of you joining us late, the only reason this neck is on here is we think it's very important for people to learn this union, and it went together so nice that we said, let's mold it this way. Hence, we have to do this a little bit differently. Laid it on here, sketched around it with a Sharpie. I took little Euro pins and cut the orange ones and cut the heads off them and poked them in backwards for this printer's tin, through the printer's tin, and that's going to hold him like so. And I think, we're going to bring these up a little bit. And I think we should super glue these in. I think.
That looks pretty good. Should we put just a spot
Yeah.
at the base of each
Now,
of those pins?
that's like those little, those India people that lay on a bed of nails. This is a little bit like that. The more nails you have, it's not going to hurt him. Now, I think those depths were pretty good, that he felt real good and level. I would like about a 1/2 inch of rubber underneath him. And I'm just going to put a little super glue so that they don't sink into the foam too much. I can't wait for the comments this week. Why in the world would you ever
There's a pile.
do that this way?
Now that'll keep him from falling down, but we're gonna do a little something to keep him from rising up too, aren't we? Or maybe we don't need to.
It wouldn't hurt, you think?
I think.
And you're thinking of sticking one through here, right?
I
To
was.
start? Through the meat?
Yep, all the way through, and basically keeping it from rising upward as the rubber level comes up. So one's going to hold him up and one's going to hold him down.
Whoa.
There it goes.
Okay. And then maybe one back here.
I think that
Something
would be
that
a
won't
good
interfere
idea.
with his look. Right there. It didn't work so good.
Oop, that did.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Now, we're going to pour rubber in there, and it's going to encase the whole bird head. This is dangerous.
Yes.
Oh, I can't get none. Can you make
Yeah,
that
that
go?
one. No,
for me?
you'll have to use that one.
Oh,
We've got
Yes,
a
ma'am.
question from Jeremy Lee, and he's wondering, how long does it take the master's blend to set up? I injected turkey feet 2 days ago and still not set up.
it should set up. It should set up pretty fast. Make sure there's not a lot of fluids in your turkey feet. But turkey being a big, thick foot, I'm going to say your skin may. I'm going to stick one more in here. What do you think?
Yeah, just in case.
Do you have a? I'll never make it with an orange one, will I?
I don't think so.
They'll set up, but it will take a little while to get firm. That gonna work? Mm-hmm. Okay, now, something interesting, when you make the mold, then we're gonna pull all these pins out. When you pull all the pins out and you cast this bird, he's actually gonna have little plastic
sprues,
pins coming
yeah.
out. They are all in kind of a strategic place where it's not gonna bother me if one's there, I snip it off. You can wipe them off, they're gonna be that dainty. How'd we do? Good?
I think good.
Okay, and then we pre-bent this, and, ooh.
Flip it over.
Something doesn't quite line up. There we go. Must have bent it funny, I hope. You give it to me when it's in.
Are you sure that's the right bird?
Well, something sure went funny here.
Or did you have it the other way? Was it this way?
I don't think so. You think?
No.
I don't think so either. No, there's my thing.
So now we're just strategically aligning the dam.
How much time we got? Tick, 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 tock.
Oh, we got all kinds of time.
Okay.
And should we tape that seam?
Tape around it?
This.
Oh, well, maybe. Boy, something sure got funny here. You must have done this while I was gone.
No.
Having a wardrobe malfunction.
Oh.
And
how have you been? Do you have anything to talk about while I'm struggling here?
Employees. You got your new. You have your new lichen in. So you can check that out online. We have. I don't know. Just been busy with desk work lately.
Better.
Better.
That's hard. I think I got it, but that's hard.
Can I tape that seam?
What were we going to, oh, tape the seam? Sure.
Just in case you, yeah, just hold it right there. And
Silicone, once you've had a leak with silicone started, you'll never stop it.
tool. Scissors.
Good. Okay, I'm going to try to get this a little better yet. I'm getting close.
Thank you. There you go.
But do you want to tell them about the silicone?
Sure.
And you can maybe be mixing,
Yep.
and I will
Okay.
get this as perfect as I can.
So we are going to pour this in silicone, like Tom said. We've got some pre-measured here, and because that's so irregular in shape, just to minimize the amount of excess, we could pour that in a block, but we would end up having to use a lot more silicone. So we've got some mixed here, and we're just going to measure it out. I'm going to sneak behind you, kind of give them a mixing. And we want to make sure that we zero the scale. So take your measuring device, your cup here, and then we're going to set the scale to 0 after we weigh the cup, and then we can come over here and measure our total. And it looks like we are sitting at about 19 and a half, if you can see that. So we have 19 and a half ounces, and for this particular silicone, we're going to mix it to a 10% ratio. And at 19 and a half 10% of 19.5 is going to be 1.95. We've actually poured off 2. So we have 2 ounces of catalyst measured out here. And I'm just going to pour that in. And our catalyst is kind of blue. Our silicone body is white. So we're going to get a little bit of a light colored mix here. And important when mixing any 2-part materials, we need to have them completely blended, no streaks, completely streak free. We could do this with a drill and a wire, but you run the risk of poking a hole in the side of a cup like this. So I'm just going to carefully mix with a heavy duty stick here that we've got pre-cut. Don't poke a hole in the bottom of your cup now. Makes a mess. And then this silicone is very thin and has a long setup time. How much working time do you think we have?
Oh man, hours.
Hours. Which is nice because it allows the bubbles to rise. And you wouldn't have to vacuum this. But since we have a vacuum here that we use every day, we'll drop this over in the vacuum chamber. And we will try to suck all of the air out that I mixed in when I was mixing this. You can see now I have a nice, light, consistent color. So I'm going to drop this in the vacuum chamber. Did you get your dam glued down?
I am.
Oh, I can keep talking?
You keep talking.
So we're just going to pull a vacuum on this, and it will take a couple of minutes to boil the air out of it. Pull the air up. It's going to look like it was boiling.
One new and exciting thing, well, a few, that we have is for those of you that have our reference books of the deer all around, eye, nose, ears, we also have made and put together some from Phil Wilson images. So we've done bobcat eye and all around, antelope eye all around. We got elk, mule deer, another Dan Vripp's whitetail all around, so it wouldn't be, none of these pictures have been used before. Those are ordered and should be here at the end of next week, so be looking out for those, but they have some amazing picture quality, great for reference, that's printed and right in front of you.
That's exciting. Those are some of the best books I've seen.
They are fun to put together.
I had just a little bit too much material in that cup, so if I would have left it to continue before it started to fall, it would have actually pulled so much air up it would have spilled over. That's why I turned the vacuum off for a second. And now we're up to 28, 29, and we're just about a good vacuum there. So we'll let this rubber we'll let the air pull out of it. How's that doing?
It's doing fine. It was a little, I don't know how my little pre-bent dam got so.
I think you changed the pose of his neck.
Change it?
We got the body and then decided to make the neck a little
Maybe.
different.
That's exactly what we did. I got it fitting around here, and now I just am taking the hot glue gun and sealing this all the way around. If you've ever worked with silicone and you've dammed things up, if you ever have a leak, you'll probably not get it stopped.
You want another pusher behind your hot glue?
Go.
There's a little void right there on this, right there.
Come on.
That's the advantage and disadvantage of the slow setting silicone is the advantage is it can degas the air. The air has a time to escape and it can get into all the little nooks and crannies, but the negative is it can find every little nook and cranny in your dam and eke out and end up on your table.
I've made prettier molds, and anytime you do things for live, it never goes exactly like you want. I'm even going to get this seam on the outside a little bit.
And this hasn't fallen away completely, but are we going to vacuum the
I think we
mold
should,
too?
don't you think?
Yeah, I think we should. So I might let the
Will your little hands fit in there like this, or do we need
I can do it.
Okay, now, we want to be able to pour it in without our bird head falling off, so he's pinned in quite well. You thought we should have a pin to guide us for cutting up the back, right?
I thought that would be nice if we had a little pin that poked out of the back of the neck just to give us a level to start our cut. Because we're not dividing this, he's going to be completely encased in rubber and we're going to have to cut.
How about, I'm going to get a sharper little orange one maybe. Or maybe something to start a hole. Those black ones take a lot of pushing.
They do, they dent that tin.
I know another thing exciting. We are caught up on orders.
Oh my
So
goodness.
form orders, bird orders, normal orders. Right now, they're working on orders as they come in that day and then starting to fill the shelves. So we're finally getting there so you guys won't have as big of a wait. So that's really exciting. 'Cause that was stressful.
And we're sitting pretty good for foam.
Yep, we're
Foam's
sitting good
great.
with foam.
That's exciting.
So does that mean we're selling it to our people again? Haven't talked about that one.
We haven't.
Call tomorrow and talk to Tom.
Okay, I can't poke into anything, but it can
But
be
that'll
there.
tell you about where to. That'll give us a start.
Do you have a little stick of some sort? Oh wait, this will work. Oh, that worked good. Okay, that's your line to follow.
That is the line.
Okay, I see another void.
Hot glue is cheap and hot.
Cheap and hot, Don Frank says.
And hurts like heck if you get it on you.
Exactly.
Okay, I think it'll work. Now, it'll take a couple pours, won't it?
I don't know. This
Okay.
is hard.
You do it.
Start?
Sure. Oh,
I have to go get kids, but I really want to see this. If it works.
you're not going to get to see much.
Oh, wow. I'm waiting for it to pour all out over the table.
Shh. Mandy.
Just kidding.
So I am just pouring to one point and letting the rubber itself push the air out ahead of it. I see some little bubbles that are pouring in there. Hopefully the vacuum will get those out.
Now, here's another thought for you. That vacuum chamber is going to suck that rubber
And that
down to his adenoids.
Yep.
Maybe we want to just let it.
Do its own thing.
Yeah.
We could do that. I probably should have vacuumed my rubber a little better.
Nah. This is non-vacuumable. It's not
But it
necessary
is.
to vacuum.
And we are just now coming over the top of the bird.
Oh, you're going to be fine, aren't you? Not quite?
Not quite. I think I'm going to be a little short.
Kate's gonna try to get in there closer to you.
Now make sure everything is, I mean, that bird we wanted really nice and solid in there, so it was not going to go anywhere.
Tilt it right over there, Kate. See if
And
you're
I think
close.
you did really good.
And I think that is just going to cover him, but I'm afraid we're going to have to mix a little more.
Another 6 ounces is going to be perfect.
Ooh, you're close.
Here,
Can you
go ahead
scrape?
and
We
mix.
got it. No, we've got to have probably a ½ inch on top of him, so.
Because with the bubbles, it.
Yeah, well, and the thickness. We need our mold to be fairly thick.
Want to use this one again, or do you want
Well, I've got
Oh, that's
13
fine.
already
Go ahead.
mixed this.
do it?
Okay, so I've got 13 measured off here, which is more than I need, but I will need some catalyst.
I hit it
Under
from
here?
you.
So real quick on the fly, we will zero again. Always shake your catalyst. And since we have 13 ounces, I'm going to go about 1.5, I suppose.
Now, we've had crash courses in silicone before, and it's the kind of a product where there's user-friendly silicones, like the kind we carry is exceptional for beginners, and we use it every day in the shop. And then there's temperamental silicones, like some of the platinum cure silicones are very difficult and sensitive to various products. So the best thing I can tell you, if you want to make a mold of something, practice on anything
Yeah.
other than your customer's rare snowy egret or whatever it happens to be,
Yeah.
you know. Practice on something first. Make little things. Make toys for your kids. We made all kinds of toys. I mean, Mark had a little crane crank that broke, and we glued it together and made a little crank for his Tonka toys, you know, and we were always making products.
Don't cast your
silicone.
first bird head as a pelican. That would be a big project.
That'd be $300 worth of rubber minimum.
Minimum.
And I see a little leak here.
Ah!
Tiny, 2 little leaks.
That's actually pretty good. I'm going to pop this in
Okay.
the vacuum chamber again, quick. And this would apply to really anything that they wanted to mold and cast, wouldn't it? If it was a bird bill or ducks, all your pheasants and
Just
upland birds.
think of some of the things we've casted. We've made change out deer heads. Recently this week we've made rocks. We made bird heads. We made bird feet. If you can hold it still for 5 minutes, we can make a mold of it, and from that mold we can make a replica. Now next week what we'll do, we'll probably pull this out before we see you again, just to make sure everything went good. Otherwise we might have to do it over again.
We have more wood ducks in the freezer.
Yeah, we have more wood ducks in the freezer. But we will probably pull this out, and we put that pin right in the top of the head, and we're going to, that's in the back of his neck, we're going to use that as a guide to run our scalpel, and we're going to run the scalpel down the back of the neck so that we can part that mold. We'll try to keep the head in one capsule, but the back of the neck will probably cut open. We'll take it out, and then next week we're going to show you how to mold release, how to pour apart from that. We might show you how to make eye-rings for the wood duck, how to make this prototype is what it really is, how to make it as perfect as you can, and we like to refer to it as factory looking. It's going to look like it came from the Wildlife Illusions bird factory. It's going to look really nice.
Santa Claus Bird Factory. While that's in the vacuum chamber, I feel bad because Mandy had to leave, but we have her lichen she was pretty
Lichen.
excited about. She wanted to share. So we've got some of these.
That's some exceptional lichen.
It
Very
really
good looking
is.
lichen. Look at this.
It really is. They come in various sizes. Great little habitat pieces. They come somewhat pre-colored. When we looked up lichen, there are 100 different colors and varieties of it, but we have several sizes here. Mandy's got some really cool kits put together. We were looking at our bobcat base and wanted to bring some color into it. So real quick, had just taken some of our Createx paints and dabbed some color on. I don't know if any of those are, if our lichen specialists are gonna
I don't think you
chastise
can
us for
do
color.
lichen wrong. Those little circles and orbits are pretty realistic. Lichen comes in so many different colors. This is a real common one around here, but you go out west, you get some real pretty sunbursty ones like this. That's real pretty.
Get some greens and oranges. This is a 5-inch piece, and they scale down. You got a 4, 3.5, 3, 2.5, 2, 1, and I think there might be a few varieties of the 1-inch, 3/4 inch. They go all the way down to some little small intricate pieces.
And you could cut them and tear them. And
Yeah, really neat additives for habitat.
And they're like a latex material. They
Yep.
conform to a rock real nice, and they glue down really well.
So there you go, Mandy. We didn't forget you.
And lichen, if you ever made lichen, it's a bugger to make. This has got to be molded and cast from real lichen. It's somebody went to a lot of work here.
That's a very unique texture. I've seen attempts with crackle paint and different things. You're not going to get it.
We've done it all.
Not going to get it nearly as realistic and lifelike as that. So that's kind of
Okay,
fun.
we ready?
Yeah. Should I see if it's? Oh yeah, it's boiled down pretty good.
And tomorrow, this is like, I always say making molds is like trapping, because you set it and you can't wait till tomorrow. You come in and can't wait to see what you got.
Okay.
And it'll stick to itself, even if this firmed up in the morning, if we didn't have enough. Sometimes we'll make a mold and we'll have a leak and it kind of went down too far and the prototype is showing. As long as it hasn't sat too long, a day, it'll still bond to itself.
There we go.
Then you can check how deep you are. You're good 3/4 of an inch.
Over the top? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's probably plenty, isn't it? Or should we do more? I've got a
touch
little bit
more, just in case it leaks.
What? It's not gonna leak. I know the guy that built the dam.
I know. I built the dam and then it didn't fit. I was pretty mystified there. Okay, and that's how to make a silicone mold of whatever you want to make. If you wanted to make a silicone mold of this, you could make a flawless silicone mold
Yes,
of
you
that. When you were weighing out your catalyst, make sure, a lot of people think 4 ounces, they get
4
mixed up.
pounds
1 pound, 4 ounces, they think is 14 ounces of catalyst. They get mixed up. So you got to convert your pounds to ounces. 1 pound, 4 ounces is 16 plus 4, which is 20. So you want 2.0 ounces of catalyst.
Yep.
So make sure you have the measuring down in your head real straight before you start mixing it. And pretty soon you'll, Even though we use it all the time, we have a good idea of how much catalyst, we still weigh it out, not like Bondo.
Oh, absolutely,
Bondo
yeah.
is a guess, put in a big squirt, you want it faster, put in a little bit more. We don't treat silicone the same way.
No, no.
All right, we have a question from Doug Shores, and he is wondering, how do you keep the head from rotting before you take it out?
It won't rot between today and tomorrow.
Yep.
It won't be fresh, but it won't rot. And there's no air in there. It'll be surprisingly better than you think.
Yep, it's encapsulated completely in silicone, so no air can get there. If you were going to do this over a long period of time, I guess I could refrigerate it. It'd slow down the silicone reaction too, but I don't.
We used to do artificial turkey heads, and we would take a turkey head, pose it in a bedding material, and then we would dam around it, and we'd pour plaster over it. As soon as it's set, we would flip the mold, remove the bedding material, put a mold release on, and we'd pour plaster over the rest of it. We let that set 6 days. And the reason you let it set 6 days is because it would decompose enough that all the feathers and all the hairs on that turkey head were now anchored in the plaster. When you took it apart, the turkey head was 6 days old at room temperature. So you disposed of the turkey head. Now you have a mold, and it is loaded with feather roots coming out at you. Then you would take that mold and you would fill it full of casting latex. And casting latex is similar to this kind of latex, but it sets up hard overnight. And it was strong enough that it would hold the roots of all those feathers. When you took the mold off of the casting latex, it had all the feathers in it. So you had a white, creamy latex head loaded with turkey feathers. It's good. It's very good.
It sounds yucky though. It really sounds yucky.
Okay, now set it and forget it. We had a little trouble with the dam. I messed that up a little, but I think,
you got it.
we got it back good enough anyway. It's going to work. This will take, like Brett said, it's a slow setting silicone, but that's why you can get away without a vacuum chamber, because all the bubbles will float out and it has time to get down into where it needs to get.
It's going to run.
Now you might
forever.
want to put that in the chamber to suck it down into the nostrils, no?
No, not
Okay,
real
we
bad.
won't. We won't.
I'm afraid something will let go. That's a lot of pressure.
But it takes a good 4 hours before, the only reason I know how long is because when it starts leaking, you just watch the clock and keep patching and patching and patching, and
Pouring
more
more,
hot glue and more
pouring
Band-Aids
more,
and more of this
pouring
and more of that.
I put just a little.
Oh, that's
right
what you
there.
did.
Yeah.
And what are we giving away?
So we are giving away the 10-piece assorted lichen.
Oh, that's a deal.
Yeah. And
That's a deal.
I think they're going to liken these.
oh, that's funny.
And who's the winner?
So the winner is.
Wait. How do we win?
So they win by, if you want to win for next week, you will want to make sure to share this video and like it to your Facebook page to be entered in next week's giveaway. So the winner for this week's giveaway goes to Sam Casita, and Sam won by sharing and liking last week's live video.
Congratulations, Sam. I hope you got a place for your lichen, because it's pretty neat stuff.
It is.
Study some lichen and paint it to your
Yeah.
lichen.
Okay.
All right, so we will see you guys next week for
Thanks for joining us.
part 2.
Next week we're going to do a little, maybe do some eye rings. We're going to see what we end up with here. I cross my fingers. We're going to show you how to pour that out of polycast.
Yep.
And hopefully pull one out. Hopefully we'll have done that before you see us again to make sure it worked. And eye rings. Eventually we'll paint the bill. We'll probably remove the neck. We'll
Set
keep
them up.
one hanging on the wall for a steady cast.
Yep.
All right, see you next week.
Thanks for coming.